Da 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 da! What's my good cheer? Welcome, everybody. Let's give YouTube a couple of minutes to get those notifications out. In the meantime, if you've never popped into my lives before, hi, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside. And it is really quite curious, when you think your life is going one way and how easily we can get into that little bit of a snowball that just kind of rolls down that hill and we pick up every single little hiccup. It doesn't even have to be ours, right? And that snowball gets so big. And the thing is, it isn't the problems that are the problem. It's our emotions, right? You know, yes, as things accumulate, as that snowball gets bigger, right? Those emotions and that stress and anxiety, the worry, that gets bigger too. But we only concentrate on those emotions. We're just looking for a way to get out of those emotions, and we don't even look at the fact it is all those worries and stress that we allow to be picked up. And like I said, most of that stuff isn't even ours. If you're anything like me, you just walk around all day long, just, "Oh, I'll take care of that. Give that to me," right? Right? And we can end up with just everybody's garbage, and that is the truth. And these are lessons that I wish I had learned much earlier in my life. How much my emotions dictated my life. This week we're just talking a little bit about those emotions. Hello, Eugene. I'm doing great. I hope you're doing amazing tonight too. I really appreciate that you popped in here, that you consistently pop in here. That's absolutely amazing. Some of these subjects, they can be heavy. It's the last thing you want to do before you go to bed, or right? Maybe you're starting your day, and it's exactly that. It's that snowball that has picked up so much stuff. It just makes our life so miserable and so heavy and so not worthwhile living, right? And that's a truth too. And it's something I learned really early. I love life, no matter how difficult, no matter how miserable, right? This is my life. I have one life, one shot to have this experience, right? This experience that I'm having, and it doesn't look anything like I expected, and it doesn't look anything like I thought was even possible for me. And it's just in the pursuit of it. And if I'm going to be in that pursuit, I have to have the least amount of weight on me as possible. I can't be holding everybody's problems. I can't be running around and going, "Let me take care of that. I got that. Oh, you're not coming into work today? No problem. I'll cover you. I'll do your job. I'll do your job too." There are reasons why my life works out the way they are, or the way that it does. And I can't lose sight of that, because it's in the repetitiveness. It's in the repeat. And if I can look at similar situations that I've been in my life, that I'm in right now, I'm going, "Oh my goodness, I didn't do nothing except help that snowball go down the hill." And I put myself in such a state when it didn't need to be, when all kinds of amazing things wanted to come into my life, wanted to relieve those issues, wanted to take the weight off of me, wanted to put a smile on my face, right? But that wasn't going to come anywhere near me in that frantic state that I had put myself in, right? And it was scary. And it's that scary that stops us from trying to resolve, right? We think sometimes if we just go like the turtle and go right into our shell and just stay in there until it's over, that whoever is trying to get at us through the outside, right? Sometimes it's a good idea. I spent a lot of my life as a spectator, and it has afforded me opportunities to pick up lessons, things that, if I was in the mix of it, if I was in the busy, if I was preoccupied, I wouldn't have even noticed it as a possibility. And that's the truth. But there are lots of things in my life when I make these choices that it can dictate, something amazing for myself. If I can keep that great attitude, if I can whistle while I work, right? If I can understand that, tomorrow's another day, right? Or I'm going to get another chance. There are so many opportunities to do things over again. And even right now, I am sort of kind of doing things over again. And I could beat myself up about that because I recognize it's probably a lesson that I didn't properly absorb, right? That these things come back in my life. And sure enough, I spend a little bit of time, sit there, and just go into it a little bit. And yes, in the moment, it might agitate you. You might say, oh, that darn a-hole, rah, 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 rah. Right? When you're going in there, oh my goodness, right? And we get ourselves all worked up. But then you're in it, right? Now you're thinking about it. Now, right? You just, okay, what is it then? What is it? What is the lesson here, right? That makes me have to go back to this experience that I said I was never going to be in that situation ever again. Why am I there again? And then you get that answer, right? Just from spending a few minutes, just out of that frustration that you allowed to come, that worry and stress and anxiety and fed upness that you allowed to come to the surface, right? And then you got something, you understood something, and that one thing was enough to crack it all open. And right, all those layers on that snowball in an instant can fall away. And all that grief, all that frustration, all that anxiety that you put yourself through because, right, you didn't want to look back there. You didn't ever want to have yourself in that situation ever again. And there you are. But this time you sat in it. This time you paid attention. This time you gave it some thought, made some inquiries. And, right, just something clicks like that and you feel like $1,000,000. That happened to me this week. It was so totally unexpected, but at the same time I am so grateful for the things that come across my path. I don't necessarily have to understand everything, right? I suspect out of appreciation, I will throw some thank yous to the universe or to whoever or whatever, right? And I'm not saying that out of disrespect, but I'm saying that because I am non denominational, right? That I understand there have been So many serendipities, breadcrumbs, little miracles, little gifts and joys and understandings and that come across my path. You can't call it coincidence. You can't you can't not recognize that it's there, right? And that for me, right? Because nobody else is experiencing that except for me, right? For me, that is absolutely just everything. That's my belief. That's my understanding. That's my movement forward. That's the direction I'm getting, right? And it is in all these things that we take off our plate. All that compounded stuck snow in that ball that we're able to break apart, right? That we're not worried about stuff that we're picking up along the way because we learned that lesson already. And that's what makes us feel so good because once you got it, you got it. And once you got it, you can repeat it, right? So then it's on to the next lesson. And yes, right? It's probably going to be not fun. It's probably going to be difficult. But just like that first snowball, that you broke up, you'll break up the next one and the next one and the next one. And every time you break one of those up, you will alleviate yourself from that stress and that worry that's always coming at you. The easier it's going to be. Might even be a little bit, dare I say, fun in the challenge. And I have to say, I found that to be the case many times. Just the challenge in keeping my brand going, right? And that is something to be proud of. That is actually something to take a look at too, because those are where your strengths are going to be most noticeable. Those gifts that you have, that you'll be better be able to see them because you used them to resolve, right? To resolve issues and problems and anxieties and catastrophes. And it doesn't have to be big moves, right? It doesn't have to be big understandings, right? Remember what I said? It could be just the one understanding that just somehow got into the crack and broke it open, right? And it's what's broken open that gets resolved that has the opportunity to have not just a band-aid put onto it, right? But to actually heal permanently so that we never have to worry about it again. That is in my hopes. That is in my, dare I say, expectations. Right? How about optimism? I'll settle for that. But again, like I said, it is in the compounded evidence of those experiences and experiments, that hands on playing with it, right? And checking it out and that cause and effect and play with it a little bit and see if you could see that evidence for yourself. It's got to start somewheres, right? And I don't think it necessarily has to start in a certain place. But for me, right, sometimes it's just best to start at grade one, right? In grade one and just work your work your way up. Take each lesson as they come to you, and that way they're kind of like the prerequisites for the next lesson. Because it's always great when you can go into a new experience, a new lesson, a new conversation, and be able to understand it a little bit better. It's about alleviating as much of that stuff that causes us these problems as we can so that we can enjoy it as much as we can, right? As much as we can. And like I said, I love life. I love even the challenges, right? It is frustrating in that repeat consistently that I come face to face with some of the same lessons. And I work on them, and then I think I found something, but I found something. That's great. But it wasn't the something I was supposed to be working on. It wasn't the something that I was supposed to give me that one understanding that leads me to the next thing. So, right, here I am again, in it again, right? But this time, understanding that I have to play with it. I can't just ignore it. I can't just wish it away. I just can't hide and preoccupy myself until it goes away. Because maybe, right? If you're really waiting for it to go away and it keeps coming back, maybe one time when you finally had that courage and bravery to say, I'm going to do it this time. I'm going to do it this time. Right? Nothing's going to stop me. And you wait and you wait and you wait. And that opportunity never comes by again. It happens. It really does happen. And if I were to worry about anything, right, it would probably be a dream, a goal, a wish unfulfilled, right? Unmaterialized. Because it's all in that appreciation for what we can accomplish, right? If you're anything like me, accomplishment is big, right? When you don't have a lot of stuff going on that is right, like is right on, making you feel good, that you, right, you want to just keep doing over and over and over again. But when you get something right, you get that sense of accomplishment or a job well done, right? That's a pretty amazing feeling. It really is. Especially if you can see that other people never even tried, or it was something so difficult that not a lot of people would have been even able to do it, let alone want to do it, right? So we have to give ourselves that little bit of appreciation whenever we can, and that only comes from accomplishing, right? Like I said, it doesn't have to be big accomplishments. It doesn't have to have big choices, but it has to have some movement along with it. I believe in baby steps, and the reason I believe in baby steps because you know these experiences, for me at least, are very new, very unfamiliar, uh, nerve wracking sometimes. We're going to send some good cheer. I got a fire truck coming down my street. We're going to hope that they optimistically get to their destination, bang on that door, and they come to the door and say everything's okay, false alarm, and they're able to go back to the station. Actually, I only did that twice today, I think. And usually it is quite busy on this street because it is a main drag to get downtown. So, of course, if there's a problem in that direction, they're going to come down this street. But I try to throw off as many of those good cheers as I can for the fire department. Today, you guys, coming off track a little bit. Today was a really good day. My sister and I were putting on a big garage sale. We have to do these yard sales when we're reselling because there's lots of stuff that we buy, and if they're not going to move, we need to get our money back so that money could go back into other things that will make us some money. We did really good this week. We spent $20 on 4 stone guards. They're little cages that go over headlights of cars. They were brand new in the box. We paid $5 each for them. We got 4 pairs new in the box from the 1980s, and we listed them for $125 each. Super happy. That was a good one. It's only a good one if it sells. Otherwise, it ends up at the yard sale, right? And we just work at trying to get our money back that we spent in that, right? So that was a good one. Proud of myself. Proud because that was my score. I find that one. But my sister, she's pretty amazing. She loves the jewelry. She's really good with jewelry. And if you're willing to spend a few dollars on a nice piece, like $50 on a nice bracelet or a nice necklace, you can make hundreds and hundreds of dollars on that. And she's really good with the jewelry, my sister. But we were getting ready for this garage sale. We went over and cleaned the garage this week and got it all ready and set up the tables and everything. This week, her boyfriend's coming over with the truck, and we're gonna load up all my stuff and all her stuff, and we're gonna go set up the garage with all the stock and price everything. That way, we have another week where we can go out again and just make sure, right, it's ready to go. Make sure we got tables and right that everything's just set and we're gonna sell. I've accumulated a lot in the past half a dozen years. I have accumulated a lot. As fast as I lost it all, I got it all back 10 times faster. And that's the truth. And more. 10 times faster with probably 3 or 4. Sorry, I just knocked over a little tray there. 3 or 4 times as much as I ever did. And beautiful things too. But stuff I didn't need, stuff I thought I could invest and make a few dollars on. So uh, whatever we didn't list, whatever I had stuffed in cupboards and closets, I've been yanking it out all day. All day. I don't know how many Rubbermaid containers I did. But you guys, it's really strange, like I said, how things work out. How that unexpected, we stress ourselves out because we don't have resources, we don't have tools, we don't know the right questions to ask. But it's in that stress and worry and anxiety that we can't get the answers. The answers just won't come to us in that state. And so we do have to lighten the load. And when those unexpected little things happen that do lighten the load, right? That we're able to see a little bit better, a little bit clearer, right? Have a little bit of lightness to ourselves again. Then again, like that snowball, as fast as we pick up all the crappy, right? And it gets bigger, bigger, bigger. That same snowball can go down the hill. And in that amazing mood, that optimistic mood, or in the very least, that mood that everything is going to be okay, that ball starts rolling and gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then as our moods lighten, makes it much easier, right? For more of that to come towards us. And that is exactly what happened. I was on a roll today. I can't believe how much I got. And I never even thought. I said, well, am I going to apply to the bills? And I said, well, probably not, because I'm caught up. I have to stay caught up to the house bills and everything in order for this to work for me. But I did have on my list of goals this year a new desktop computer. My desktop is on its last legs, right? So it's time for a new Windows 11. I bought my laptop this past year, so we are good to go there. But that's the thing, working in social media, it's important for me at the very least to make sure that my technology, right, that my devices are up to the expectations, that YouTube has for their creators, right? And I am so grateful for my platform, for my little channel that I have had for over it's been over 10 years, you guys, that I've had this YouTube channel. And you know what? It has been 10 years since this channel has actually been monetized. I picked up my subscribers pretty fast in the beginning, but you know what? It has been slow, so slow. And in all honesty, with the shifting of the top topics and the pivots that I've done in the past, half a dozen years or so, you know, I am quite grateful that my audience subscription has pretty much stayed the same. Now, it has shifted, right? Because, I lose the adventure, I lose the urban exploration subscribers, but then I pick up the mindset. I pick up the people who are interesting in working with their emotions and figuring out what went wrong and trying to create a little bit more comfortable life for themselves, right? Learn to make some choices, learn to be a little bit more braver and courageous to act on those choices. And right, you don't have to tell me, right? It took me over a year to even come in front of the camera, and that's the truth. But it is in that repeat, it's in that showing up, it is in accepting when you see something that you thought you had down packed, right? Right there in your face again, and you're on repeat with it again, that you can just look at it and say, wow, grateful for another chance. Let's see what it's got in store for me this time, or what did I get not quite right last time, right? And see if we can do a little bit better by ourselves, right? And that's the best that we can hope for in the end, right? And it is in that kindness and in that consideration. And if you're doing that, that's something to feel good about, something to feel accomplished about, because even in that, it will draw more of that goodness towards you, more of those little things that you didn't think would be helpful in the end, right? I'm gonna have a garage sale. I'm gonna get a new personal computer out of that garage sale with stuff that's gonna come out of my house, and it's gonna make me feel like I've got some open space so that I can shuffle things around and make things a little bit more comfortable for me, knowing that I have that space, right? Not stuff that I just don't want to drag with me forever. So why not, right? Move it along now and make that work for me. So also in doing that, oh my goodness, my sister's going to Disneyland in September. Gee, what a coincidence. Cindy goes on her trips usually in September. And one of those things, right? I wasn't even expecting it, right? Because of the job that put the roof over my head, and right, thinking, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to live on my savings, and and then to recognize and understand that, oh my goodness, she's going away in September, right? I'll have the car. My trip isn't on cancel, right? I'll give her $1,000 and I still get to go on my September trip. I'll only go for a week, but a week is enough, right? A week is enough to just be able to take off and connect with Mother Nature, something that I was not recognizing in the moment that I was feeling a little bit sad because I was thinking, oh, I probably won't be able to take my trip this year, and just trying to see where I can wrangle a little bit of an invite to get in on somebody else's little cottage trip or camping trip. And just to come to realize that, oh my goodness, maybe my trip's still on. So I was looking today at campgrounds and provincial parks, right? And yeah, just the little miracles. And look at like these dimples are just right. They're smile lines because it's that feel good feeling that, like, oh my goodness, why do I worry? Why do I put myself through that stress all the time? Because this is all new. It takes time, right? To feel comfortable in that goodness that seems to want to trickle in. And it's in the evidence as it trickles in that you go, oh my goodness, again, 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 to the point where, right, you're expecting it. And when you expect it, you're there, right? Right? I have very few expectations in my life, right? What I do expect is that I'll do the very best that I can with the tools that I have. And I'll do it with a smile on my face. And I'll whistle while you work, understanding I'll still be here tomorrow, right? And everything will be okay. You guys, Eugene, thank you again for popping in. It's I'm wearing a house dress today. Thank you for the compliment or the compliment. I appreciate that. My mouth is all dry. I'm going to finish my coffee. I'm going to call it a day. We're going to start right up tomorrow. I have a couple of topics here that I was looking to get in and chew on a little bit. And the idea was going to do it today, but that's okay. Tomorrow's another day. You guys have a great night or a great day wherever you are in the world, and we'll see you